Hi everyone, my name is Coach Brittany Carey, and today we're going to be talking all things mommy burnout. So in this presentation, we're going to be going through a few different things. And first, I'm going to start with who I am so you know who is talking to you about this. We're going to be talking about what mommy burnout is and how to recognize, recover from, and prevent it. And lastly, I'm going to give you the tools that you need to, exercise all the things that we are going to be talking about in this presentation. So I am, like I said, Coach Brittany Carey, and in 2019, I started my health and wellness journey from a place of desperation to start living my life instead of surviving it, just going in and day out, just trying to get through the day, right? And since starting that journey, I have fallen in love with the betterment of myself. So in trying to make myself better, I started with the area I felt like I needed the most work, which was being a mom. So I was no longer okay with yelling at my kids or resenting them, and I started to look for ways to change the things that I didn't like, and then started implementing the steps to change that. So I'm a wife and mom of three. My oldest is 7. Her name is Melina. She's super creative and sweet. And my middle is Makai, age 5, big-hearted, funny, and has the temperament of Big Red from Angry Bird. And then our newest addition is Madeline. She's almost 8 months old now, and she's just a super happy baby. Um, So what is a life coach? I get that question every single time I say to someone, oh, I'm a life coach. This is their response. So by definition, a life coach is an advisor who helps people make decisions, set and reach goals, or deal with problems. Like I said, I started working on how to become a less stressed out mom. And through that, I did a lot of research, a lot of trial and a lot of error. So I wanted to share what I learned with other moms that I felt like could maybe benefit from this, and then of course offer the support and accountability that you need to accomplish this, right? So what is mom burnout? If you haven't heard that term before, I'm not surprised at all. I didn't know what it was until I read the book called Mommy Burnout by Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, which I highly recommend. And she kind of put a name to what I've been feeling for the last, you know, ever in my motherhood journey. Like I said, I started this back in 2019, and my kids were pretty young, and I did have 202 for a couple months. So that was really my rock bottom, I guess. And that's when I started doing the digging of what this was exactly. So Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, the author of Mommy Burnout, she describes mommy burnout as the emotional and physical exhaustion that you feel from the chronic stress of parenting. It's feeling like you're over your kids sometimes. No matter how much sleep you get, you're always tired, and you resent your kids sometimes, which, like I said, I've dealt with, and that's a tough one. And you feel a reduced sense of personal accomplishment. It's a fancy way of feeling like you're, oh, never doing a good job. The prolonged nature to it, like there's no end in sight. So, how do we recognize burnout, right? So we've established what burnout is, what the name of this feeling that you may or may not have had in your motherhood journey. So how do we recognize it? What are the warning symbols of like, hey, this is happening, you need to change something, right? These are going to be our check engine lights, if you will. So we're going to talk about um, irritability, extreme mental and physical fatigue, thinking you're not doing a good job, feeling emotionally depleted, which is a huge one that we really should be talking more about as moms, mostly because we are like the nurturers of our family, right? We are the person that everyone seems to go to when they're having a rough day. And after you get past like the baby stage of like, feeding, putting to sleep, changing diapers, most of, in my opinion, parenting is the emotional side of it, right? Emotionally supporting them, guiding through these big feelings that they're having and everything like that. And that can take a really big toll on the nurturer, i.e., the mom. And I feel like we don't really talk about that enough in motherhood, what kind of toll that can take on your emotional and physical well-being, and mental well-being as a mom. Because it's not just the kids. When you become a mom, it's suddenly like the kids, if you have a spouse or partner at home, they're going to turn to you when you're having a bad day. Everyone kind of sees you as mom. caring person and they're just going to come to you with their problems, and that can be great, but it can also be tough on that person. So we should really start having more of those conversations as well. Parental guilt, fantasizing escape are all more signs of burnout. And fantasizing escape is one that I couldn't really relate to, I guess, until I had my most recent child, Madeline. After I got out of the hospital, I had to go back into the ER for some complications, and it was just such a weird feeling of actually enjoying being in the hospital because, you were just sitting there. And I got offered a warm blanket and some water, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Like, why is this actually enjoyable? And until then, I had never really, I guess, connected when moms said they have a hospital fantasy, like they're fantasizing about going to the hospital. I'm like, why would you, like, what, how could it be that bad that you actually want to go to the hospital? But then as it was happening, it actually made sense. I was like, oh, I get it now. And that's a real thing, and that could be a sign of burnout. So there are a lot of other things that could be your check engine lights for burnout, but these are the most common, and some that you have probably already, if not, will experience in your journey. All right, so we talked about what mom burnout is, we talked about how to recognize it, and now we're going to talk about how to recover from it. We've identified the problem, now we're going to talk about the solution to that problem. So the first thing that you want to do is find out what got you here, right? You've established, okay, here I am, I don't like it. How did I get here? What turn did I take that led me to this spot where I am now? And that could be one of three things, a few more probably, but these are the most common. That could be a lack of self-care, taking on too much, or isolation. I'm sure we've all experienced some of those things to some level. We're always like at the bottom of the list when it comes to like care tasks, make everyone else ahead, and then whatever's left for mom, or their energy wise, money wise, it's just, that's what you get. And that's not how it needs to be. If you're this person that's supposed to be taking care of your family, you need to be taken care of as well. It could be taking on too much, not saying no enough, too many yeses, not holding your boundaries. Self-isolation, we went through that a lot with the pandemic that we were just in. We kind of just like got in our bubbles, stayed in our bubbles, and didn't really connect with each other anymore, which to some of us, me personally, I wasn't doing even before the pandemic. Just didn't really have any friends, any mom friends. So isolation and not being able to talk to fellow adults, even on the phone, that can definitely lead to burnout. So when you have discovered you are burnt out, you're going to find out what led you here, and then you're going to connect with your village. And if you don't have a village, you need to get one, create one, find one. We're going to be talking about that in another presentation that I have coming, so stay tuned for that. But you have to connect with your village. So connecting with others brings us that sense of security, which is important when we feel like we've lost control and we're alone. We weren't meant to do this alone. We weren't meant to do this parenting, motherhood, any of it, any life experience by ourselves. It's not how we were created, and it's really tough to do that when you have no support. If you feel like, you're going through all this alone, just not having that person to talk to, it's detrimental. And it is very helpful if you have someone that you feel like you can talk to and is actually invested in what you're saying and wants to help you or wants to make you feel better. Super, super important. So then you're going to connect with yourself, do some deep digging, acknowledge how you feel, and determine that you don't want to be in this space again. A lot of us have felt lost in motherhood, where we just we don't have any hobbies, and someone asks us, oh, what do you do for fun? We draw a complete blank, and you just have no idea who you are. You don't know what your life has been like for the past 5 years, and that's not how it's supposed to be, and it doesn't have to be like that. You can totally change that. Just do some deep digging, do some experimenting. If you like crocheting when you were 19, maybe you like it now, maybe you don't, so change that. Just find a hobby, something that is reasonable for you to do, probably weekly. If you think that you would like to go parasailing and you live like in a place that you can't go parasailing every weekend. Try to find a different hobby, something that's more reasonable, like going to the gym or um, knitting. I don't know, just find something that you know that you'll like and something that you can actually go to when you feel like you just want to do something for you. So we're going to recover from burnout by finding out what led us here, connecting with our village, reconnecting with ourselves, and setting up a prevention plan. So have steps in place in the areas that are lacking, and then we're going to put that plan in place. Actually do the things. This is something that a lot of us miss out on when we talk about any change in life, any habit change that we want to see. We kind of establish, oh, something's wrong here, I want to fix it, and then our brain kind of tells us, oh, great job, mission accomplished, and that's not the end. We actually have to do the things that we want to be done. So if you feel like your reasoning for ending up burnt out was lack of self-care, and you establish that, that's a great job, but now we have to put in the plan, the prevention plan, to not let that happen again, right? So if you say my prevention plan is 10 minutes more of my skincare routine every night, taking care of myself, right? And then you don't do that, that's not going to change anything. You have to actually put the plan in place. So we talked about what mom burnout is, how to recognize it, how to recover from it, and now we're going to talk about how to prevent it. So things like mommy timeouts, self check-ins, staying hydrated, eating real food, finding a hobby or outlet, which we just talked about. Now, some examples of this could be like for mommy timeout, for example, I have a safe word with my kids, which I say when I'm just feeling overwhelmed. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I did used to be a yeller. I used to yell a lot at my kids, and I absolutely hated it. It was just something that I wanted to change for myself as being a mom. So I implemented mommy timeouts, which means I say a word, which in our house is seahorse. And for the next 5 minutes after I say that word, I need no questions, no talking to me. Go ahead, like do whatever you want. I just need to be by myself for 5 minutes. I'm in timeout, like I can't, like don't interact with me. I just need to just hear my own thoughts just for 5 minutes. So that's something that we've implemented. Self check-ins. If you pick like your busiest time of the day where you feel like, man, every day after the kids come home from school, I just feel like I'm at my wit's end and I am just exhausted. So if you've established that your kids coming home from school is what is around the time that you get crazy, you're going to say 15 minutes before that, I'm going to ask myself if I need water, if I need food, or if I need to go outside. And then if the answer is yes, 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 you're going to do all of those things. So you're going to check in with yourself. You're going to ask yourself what you need, because as moms, we're constantly asking other people, do you need something to drink? Do you need a snack? Sometimes we don't even have to ask. If you know my son, he will tell you when he wants a snack. No questions asked. I never have to ask him if he wants something to eat. So a lot of times we are asking others, and we don't ask ourselves. No one asks us, obviously, because we're adults, and if we want something, we go get it. But we're so concerned about what everyone else needs that we forget that we also need to stay hydrated and eat real food and go outside for some fresh air, or just have some time for ourselves, for our own thoughts, right? And that's a way to start implementing that. Have self check-ins. So mine is after the kids get home from school, it's just mayhem, mayhem. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to, just be free, because they were in this structure for so long. They just want to do what they want to do for a little bit, and that's totally fine. But as a person with a very type A personality, drives me a little nuts. So I take 15 minutes before I have to go get my kids from school, and I do a self check-in. I'm making sure that I am fulfilled so that when they get home, I am available for them to do what they need me to do. So eating real food, I know a lot of moms, and I used to do the same thing where I would like make my kids a meal, and whatever they didn't eat or whatever like was left, like the crust off their sandwiches that I had to cut off, That's just what I ate. And that's not healthy. That's not what, like, I'm also a human and I also need meals. So we need to stop doing that. You have to have real food, even if you don't feel like, I mean, I don't need to eat as much as I used to eat, and I used to eat a lot. So I am trying to cut back on things like my portions and what I'm eating. So if you don't want to have like a full meal, you have to have something. So just grab an apple or a protein shake if you don't have the time to actually make something. But you have to fuel your body with something that is meant to fuel your body, if that makes sense. So eating real food, finding a hobby or outlet that is something you can enjoy, something that you do just for yourself. No one else has benefited from you doing this. So none of this will matter if we don't implement it. I have given you a lot of things that you can think on to help you with this, but if you don't actually make any of the changes, then nothing is going to get done. So what do you do now? Here is all of the information, and just go about your life. No, I want to actually help you. I want you to actually get something out of this. So I did throw just like a lot of information at you within the last 15-20 minutes. So here are some just simple, easy steps that you can start taking today, tomorrow, the day after that, that will hopefully help you with this. So you can add one more of whatever your water intake is for the next 3 days. So let's say you only drink 1 glass of water a day, add one more for the next 3 days. So drink 2 glasses of water today, tomorrow, and the day after. See how you feel. Journal if you would like. Do more if you can, but don't bite off more than you can chew. So don't say, oh, I'm drinking 1 glass of water a day now, but I'm going to start drinking a gallon of water every day. That's a bit much, and you might not be able to make that big of a drastic change that fast. So just baby steps. Baby steps is all we're going to be talking about for this slide, is taking baby steps. So one more water for the next 3 days, right? Pick out some healthy snacks and label them mom fuel so that you can use when you need a quick snack. You go to the grocery store, you buy what everyone else likes, and then you get home, you're putting everything away, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't eat any of this. Like, I just spent an hour and a half planning and going to the grocery store, and I don't eat any of this. It's like stuff for dinner and then kids' snacks. So find something that you would like to eat, that you would actually want to grab, and then put them in a special place. Only you're allowed to eat them. And if you feel when you're doing your self check-ins that you need something to eat but you don't have the time to make a full meal, grab your mom fuel and you should be good. Start your check-ins with just one time right before your busiest phase of the day. If you liked the self check-in idea, I wouldn't suggest saying, oh, I'm going to do a self check-in every single hour. It's just too much, right? It's too much of a drastic change. So just try one day. Pick like your busiest time of the day, and if you don't know what that is, try to journal for a day and see when you have your biggest feelings, when you feel the most depleted, right? And that's probably the same for every other day. So you're going to pick that time, subtract 15 minutes, and that's going to be your mom self check-in time. And you're going to ask yourself, do you need water? Do you need food? Do you need some fresh air? And just go through that for the next few days and see if that makes a difference for you. Baby steps. When you're making changes, especially in a habit, you shouldn't do things like drastic changes, like an all or nothing type deal. You can take baby steps, just one more increment at a time. Do not set yourself up for failure. Like I said with the water thing, if you only drink 1 glass of water a day and say that you're going to drink a gallon of water a day for the next month, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure, because you're not used to grabbing for water every time you're thirsty. You're not used to even getting water at all most days, right? So just try to keep that in mind. So in summary, Your kids deserve a happy mom, and you deserve a fulfilling life. That's what all of this is about, right? That was my motivation for even making this change at all. I didn't want my kids to have a mom that was just going through the motions. I wanted them to have fun with me. I wanted them to have memories of me laughing and having fun with them, them thinking, my mom actually enjoys being around me, right? And I just wanted all of that for my kids. And that's why I made this change. That's why I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted better for them. So I wanted them to have a happy mom. And it took me a while to understand this, but I deserve a fulfilling life. Just because I became a mom doesn't mean that that was all my life was meant to be. I can have more. I can be my own person and a mom at the same time. And the same goes for you. Your kids deserve a happy mom, and you deserve a fulfilling life. So thank you so much for your time today. Here is my information on the screen. You are probably already on my YouTube page, so go ahead and explore my other videos if you have the time or the want. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. That is my handle below. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.